the cold.
I'm just looking for a good opportunity to get the shit started. Welcome, Earthlings, to the latest episode of the Wreak Havoc Film Bust podcast. I'm your host, Dan Sellers, along with my avenging co-host,
that's
Mr.
what we're talking about. Sammie Castle.
We are joined here today with two very special guests. I'll let you introduce yourself, fellas.
Sammie's
Real special.
To my right, we have Mr.
Chad Hunt.
And to my left, Mr.
Jeff Cochran.
Both returning guests of this show. Thanks for coming back, guys.
not very often we have a foursome.
I forgot we were friends.
You can go play a round of golf.
That is nobody's fault but yours. I've invited you multiple times.
I was like, how many times have you stood us up?
It's always a truck stop, though.
Back to orgies or us or whatever.
We
That's
agreed
right.
not to do that podcast.
So I think what we're going to do something slightly different for the first time in a couple of years. We're going to release this show at 12 p.m. instead of 12 a.m. to accommodate our special announcement we're going to be making at the Crimson Screen Horror Film Festival, where we will be there on hand for the screening of Midnight Shift, which is part of the official selection. Yay!
And nominated for an award.
Just found out today we're nominated for Best
Cool.
Produced Screenplay, so that's pretty awesome.
Short film.
Yeah, for a short film. So I'm really excited about that. So at some point, I've been told we're going to have like a Q&A section where we're going to make some kind of special announcement that we're going to be making a sequel to Midnight Shift called Countdown to Midnight.
What?
Yeah.
It's a prequel.
Prequel, sweet sequel.
It's a pseudo sequel.
Dan likes side stories. He doesn't necessarily do prequels or sequels. It's
Sequels,
just
yeah.
kind of a different story.
The easy thing to say is sequel, but it's not technically a continuation of the first story.
It's an accompanying story.
So it's another horror short film featuring Reverend Obadiah.
Okay.
Put into another dangerous situation involving the intersection of church and state, and it's
That was
kind
a
of
good. That was a good theme in the first one. I thought. I think it played really well.
yeah. I mean, I'm very happy with the way Midnight Shift turned out. So yeah, that's our big announcement. We've been teasing it for a while. I've had the idea and have a first draft of the script, and Joan's on board, so that's cool. And the other producers are on board. And so we don't have a timeline yet, but probably sometime this year we'll start moving forward with pre-production on that. So very cool. I don't have a whole lot to say about it at this point because I don't want to spoil
not the
anything.
middle of July and the ground floor of a house with no air conditioning.
Well, I think a lot of it's
We did it in April.
indoors. So
Was it?
Yeah, it was
It
1
was
year
hot.
ago. It was 1 year ago.
yesterday.
Yeah.
It was hot. That's all I know.
It was not a dry heat.
Oh my god, it was hot as shit.
Well, all the interior shots were hot.
All the lights.
At
and stuff
night, it
like
wasn't
that.
too bad. Yeah, the exterior stuff wasn't too bad.
Needless to say, we won't be shooting it there. 'Cause
No.
that place is completely revamped now.
Really?
I haven't been up there.
Oh, wow.
But that was the last time you see the inside of that place looking like that.
Huh.
Just the house or the
Oh, they
barn?
remodeled the house.
The last time I saw it, he was cleaning it out.
So
lot.
we'll. I don't know. I really want to talk about it because I'm excited about it, but I don't want to spoil anything for the audience. So we've got some really cool things coming for you guys. Maybe you'll be ready by the Wreak Havoc Horror Film Festival. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see.
That's cool.
You gotta pull your phone back a little bit from the microphone. There's like a ridiculous amount of static.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because of my phone?
Yeah.
That's just his breath.
Anytime you get about more than a foot close to it, it goes nuts.
Huh.
All right, so anybody got anything you want to mention at the top of the episode? You want to
My feet hurt.
put them on up here, Chad?
I don't. That's your job. I don't do feet. No.
Does that feel good, Chad?
That's
Does
more like it.
that massaging feel good?
For for anyone who doesn't know me, when my wife and I got married, this foot story.
There's a lot of people out there like that.
I know. Probably nobody on this listen to this. Probably everybody knows me, and they only listen because they kind of like me. Or Dan. Yeah, one of those. But anyway, when we got married, I said, I own whatever you want, honey. You pick everything out you want. I don't want any decisions. If you say do this, that's what I'll do. That's what we'll do. Except two things. First one, I get to pick our first song that we dance to. She was like, why? And I said, because everything else is going to be some sappy ass country song. And while I may not go hardcore, she would not let me play Highway to Hell. But I did.
That does sound a little inappropriate.
I didn't want it to be some sappy ass country song. And no open-toed shoes. Nobody could wear open-toed shoes. None of the girls could wear sandals. No flip-flops.
This intrigues me, Sammy. Why is that?
I hate feet. I hate feet with a passion. If I see a movie with somebody doing a foot rub, I won't watch it.
He really hates Tarantino movies.
Yeah,
Was it because of that incident with you rubbing my feet?
And she has freaking bird feet or something, like claws and no. That whole scene in Kill Bill, as much as I love Kill Bill, her feet are jacked up. Y'all gotta admit it. Uma Thurman has jacked
Well,
up
it's like
feet.
every Tarantino movie. There's like sustained shots of
I know.
feet and talking about feet.
He's
And,
got a foot fetish.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got a foot.
When he finally
Really?
does Star Trek, there's going to be crew members walking around barefoot all over the freaking Enterprise.
I never knew that about you, Sammy.
Feet. Ugh. They're nasty. Anyway, my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay.
Anyway, we got this
Is
podcast.
that on your invitations? No shirt, no shoes, no service?
Must be closed-toed shoes.
No, but we told the story the other day about at a family reunion, and we told the story about my mom pops up and she goes, hey, I'm taking Di to the gym. I was like, okay, forward. She said, well, we've had all these other bridal showers, and we've had a bridal shower in New York and a bridal shower in North Carolina and a bridal shower. And she said, I'm going to do something different for her. I'm going to take her to Virginia for a pounding. And my wife goes, are they going to take me up there and beat the fuck out of me?
You don't have to go up there for that.
And she was like, they're going to take me out in the middle of nowhere and just beat the hell out of me, aren't they? And I said, no. She said, Sammy, you can't let them do that to me. And I said, honey, it's a pounding. A pound of sugar, a pound of flour, a pound. That's what a pounding is. It's a whole country thing. And she went, oh, no, they're just going to beat me to death. It was funny. Anyway, okay, back to Avengers Talk.
So we just, today is the Tuesday after the Avengers was released, and everyone's had a chance to see it, correct? Okay. I just want to make sure.
Dominate this entire one like I did the Sandlot.
Right at the beginning of the episode, let's say this is a spoiler podcast by God. That's every podcast we do, but just be forewarned about this. We're going to spoil the shit out of this. So,
My God.
what were your initial thoughts of the Avengers Infinity War?
Like coming right out of the theater?
Yeah, sure.
Good. It was well done. It was. How do you even remotely? The expectations for that movie was so high.
Yeah.
And then to hit it to some extent. I'm not super over the top about everything, but I turned and looked at Dan. I just leaned across our wives sitting in front of us and went, "Damn, that took some balls." And he went, "Yes, it did."
And I went, shut up, don't talk to me.
No, I never got teary-eyed.
I did a couple times.
No, I can't ever remember a time I got teary-eyed.
I did a couple of times.
Did you?
Yeah.
I didn't.
But I find the more I get into my menopause, the more worse it gets.
So, Jeff, what did you think?
I liked it, but it didn't really get me like that because, it can't stand because they've got movies planned with these people.
Yeah.
So,
They kind of, with that stuff, they kind of spoiled their own ending, maybe.
Yeah.
It's just how do you get there? 'Cause
Yeah, you don't know what they're gonna do, but you know they're gonna do something.
you know Spider-Man 2 is coming. You know Black Panther 2 is coming. You know
Avengers 4.
Avengers
Even
4.
Guardians
Next year.
of the
Well, that's
Galaxy.
this.
Yeah.
But, so they could just continue.
Well, some characters that died are dead.
Oh yeah, I totally believe that.
Gamora, she's dead. She's dead. And
Like Loki.
and anybody that's read the Infinity Gauntlet comic when it came out, which is this is based on, kind of knows that those you read it.
Sammy knows this. I don't read any
Well,
mainstream
yeah.
comics, so I didn't even know what the Infinity Stones were until
Okay.
like 2 months ago.
He's a comic book guy, but he's not that comic
Okay.
book guy.
Well, I should say anybody that reads comics knows those guys aren't dead. But it does follow the story of the Infinity Gauntlet pretty closely. So anybody that's read it kind of knows, and maybe anybody that hasn't read it doesn't know. But it followed the storyline pretty closely, and I was over the top about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I really was.
I mean, I was pretty happy with it.
For 10 years, you got a payoff where you needed to have a payoff.
Yeah.
And done in such a good way. And I thought Thanos was one of the best villains, movie villains, in a long, long time. Well
For
thought out.
superheroes.
Yeah,
So,
for superheroes, especially Marvel movies who had
Yeah.
problems with their villains.
Well, and I've said this all along throughout the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Is everyone bitches and complains about Marvel's villains. So they're wait till you see Thanos. They're really putting everything on his shoulders, and,
Well,
and
Eric
it
Killmonger
works.
started it. Killmonger was really good in Black Panther.
Yeah,
That's
Killmonger was
He was an amazing villain.
You
Yeah.
know, before then it was just Loki. Loki was the only villain that stood up at all.
Well, even Loki was a villain. You could understand his motivations a
Yeah.
little bit and why he was doing what he was doing.
And I think that's what makes good villains.
But even with like you said, we've had 10 years of building up to this and 10 years of good movies, but you know you're like looking forward to something else. And this was it, and it lived up to all that hype, and at the same time, it set up the next one to be even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Was this not a brilliant use of a swerve, I'm using a wrestling term, a swerve using social media, going, hey, you know, this is Avengers 4, and they start off with, yeah, we're going to do Infinity War Part 1 and 2, and then they went, oh, no, we're just going to do Infinity War.
We're just gonna do one Infinity War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a good one like that since Lord of the Rings, when it ended that way, and everybody went, the fuck? Is that all it says?
Well, I knew they were gonna. They said they were doing Infinity War Part 2, but they weren't gonna call it that because it would spoil the story. For whatever reason.
Yeah, well, they initially started off.
Initially it was going to be part 1 and part 2.
And then they just went away.
then they
Now we're just
backtracked
going to
on
do
it.
Avengers 4.
Well, the next one is the continuation of it. And are we spoiling? You did say we were spoiling.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
we're
we're
spoiling, yeah.
Okay. The very last scene with Thanos sitting on, waking up and he's looking out. That's the very last panel of the comic book, and everybody's like, what? But I kind of felt like that scene could be a scene from the end of the next movie, because that's how it ended up, and they just kind of put that in there as a kind of a little. I don't know. Am I making sense?
Well, it might, because, you know, there's going to be I'm assuming some significant time travel elements to it.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of time travel.
It might end up being the end of the next one as well. I don't know.
Time travel and multiverse.
The time stone, they've set the time. The entire movie, they set up the time stone being the integral. That and the soul stone were the two integral parts of the gauntlet. Those were the two things that really powered the whole deal. Probably not the soul stone as much as the time stone, but that whole.
Well, the Soul Stone is the only one that we haven't seen, right?
Yeah, we saw.
Until this movie, so I think they had to give a little bit more time and effort into him getting it, because everyone else has already. There's been a previous movie about getting this stone and that stone, and you know, so.
And it paid dramatically. That paid off because there was he had to pay a price to get this soul stone.
He had to pay a big price, and I think, you know, that was an amazing scene, because Gamora just kind of thought, well, you don't love anything, so you can't get the stone. This joke's on you. And
Joke was on her.
joke was on her. You know.
And that's one of the scenes that got me.
Yeah, me too. I was very pleasantly surprised to see the return of Red Skull in that scene. Very happy about that.
The two cameos
Yeah.
are tremendous.
It's not Hugo Weaving, but it's still the Red Skull. But
Yeah. So the Red Skull and the Peter Dinklage turn was really good.
So I think okay. So let's try at least somehow to stick to a. We don't have the movie in front of us like we usually do on this show, but let's try to stick to a chronological aspect of the film.
Okay.
So it starts off.
Where you got your stereotypical people separated.
So it picks off right up after Ragnarok, really.
Yes.
At
On the Asgardian ship.
the refugee Battlestar Asgard.
Yeah. Asgardville.
Galactica.
Yeah.
And they've been
On Earth, I guess it's the fallout from Civil War, even though it's at least 6-9 months have passed.
Yeah, because Rhodey is still talking to Secretary of State. What's his face? Ross.
Yeah, I mean it jumped forward a little bit, but not enough to where.
Yeah.
And space is vast, so it could have been floating out there forever. But.
Yeah. So
And
right off the bat,
up with a bunch of hurt people and dead people.
yeah, and killing people right off the bat. They kill Heimdall. I think he's actually dead. I think Loki's really dead. They don't show what happens to Valkyrie.
Yeah, she wasn't.
I'm thinking they're saving that for another picture because she's such a good character. I think they're going to find a way to bring her.
And that whole group, Korg, Valkyrie,
Meek.
Oh,
he's dead, mate.
Yeah, Meek's alive.
I stepped on him.
Yeah, those characters that got Thor out.
Yeah. It's sad to think about. Asgard's totally gone now.
Except
Absolutely
for Thor.
gone. And I don't know if they will bring them back, if at all.
Apparently, Shadow.
Well, two things kind of give it away, and
right.
Sammy's you'll probably agree. I think Loki said, "Don't worry, brother, we'll shine again one day."
Yeah.
Which, again, I hate to keep going. If you read the comics, but,
You're going to be that guy, aren't you?
but
This is why Doc makes you do all the comic book episodes.
there's a storyline in Thor where every time Ragnarok happens, the gods are reincarnated in in different bodies, and usually Thor, I think, was the first, and he goes and he tries to find the rest of them.
Yeah, they're reincarnated in another body.
Yeah.
They never really got into that until 10 years ago or so. They had a storyline.
Michael
Where
Straczynski
it was Straczynski.
Yeah.
Did a storyline where Thor went out to find everybody else, and
I'm
Sif was the first one, I think. Was
Sif. I think the Warriors 3,
Yeah.
and all those guys. So
And Balder. Jesus Christ! You got a Thor movie. Where's his best friend?
We don't need a Balder.
but
his friend. Balder's the guy that triggers Ragnarok every time. Him dying.
Yeah. But I think they're still going to do that if they continue with Thor. They'll probably end up going that way with it.
See, but I don't know. I think Hemsworth's done after 4.
I think they're going to wrap up a lot of these characters
I
in
think-
the
I
next
think,
Avengers next year.
I think Pine's done after 4. I think Hemsworth's done after 4. I think Downey's done after 4.
I don't think Chris.
Not Pine. You're thinking of
Not Pine.
Evans.
Evans.
Chris Pine's got a few more stuff.
Yeah, he's got a few more things going. But and Downey's done, even though I think he'll make cameos on a lot of stuff just to keep it going. But there's going to be a change in the guard after 4.
I think so too. Yeah.
But I think, as far as the story of the movie goes, I think they're kind of giving little clues as to Asgard will return.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the average viewer of the movie doesn't know that.
The average viewer, Asgard's gone.
Asgard's gone.
Totally
dead.
Like, even not knowing the story, I picked up on what Loki said, but it was like the first 3 minutes of the movie. So by the time it was over, I'd
Yeah.
forgotten all about it.
So much happens in this movie.
Yeah,
There
that's
was so much going
I
on.
need to watch it at least 3 more times because I bet there was Easter eggs
Oh
everywhere.
yeah. Oh yeah.
And comic booky stuff for us, and it's just you have that's multiple viewings,
Yeah.
which
I,
Marvel's been really smart about.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
you're right.
let's figure out what all the different storylines we have going on here. We have Thor opening the film, and then it goes to
happy were you to see the Black Order on a movie screen? That is something I never thought I would see. To see Corvus Glaive,
even up to this
Proxima
point.
Midnight.
Even up to this point, I thought we'd never see those
I know.
characters.
I was like, my God, it's Proxima Midnight. They're bad guys, but how freaking cool is that? So you knew you were getting Thanos, but to get all
To
his
get those guys too, yeah, that
the
was awesome.
children of Thanos that they call him now. And Corvus Glaive is freaking strong as hell, as he showed.
Ebony Maw.
Yeah, Ebony Maw.
and so back on
Black
Earth.
Dwarf that they call something else.
There, the girl, I can't remember the girl's
The
name.
girl's Proxima Midnight.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Carrie Coon.
You've got Doctor Strange on Earth,
Iron Man, Doctor
Well,
Strange, Spider-Man.
So it opens with Thor and the destruction and Loki, and then you got Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and Spider-Man joining forces to fight.
Well, the whole
What are their
was
names?
there.
Ebony Maw.
they're fighting Ebony Maw and Proxima Midnight. No,
the big guy
And so by the end of
Black
that,
Dwarf, whatever. he's
they all
called.
end up in
What's he
space
called?
with Spider-Man.
with Spider-Man,
Cold Obsidian is the Black Dwarf.
and then it goes to the Vengeance and Scarlet Witch. That sounds about right.
That's Proxima Midnight and Black Dwarf go after them.
Yeah, Vision and Scarlet Witch.
Corvus and
And that leads into Captain,
Cap.
and then Black Widow.
The Avengers proper as we knew it last.
You got
Falcon, Black Widow,
Black Panther, and
Well, no,
Well, he doesn't come in
I
until
mean, they're all
later.
in.
Eventually, they get to Black Panther, and
Bucky.
Winter Soldier. So it was pretty cool. I like it's like 45 minutes into the film, you start hearing some of the theme music from Black Panther. Like it just hit me like, ooh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That movie was so freaking good. I was telling him before the movie, I was like,
that freaking mountain group. Oh,
yeah,
that's just,
that was awesome.
It's like a King Kong kind of thing, and it's just
I was thinking like Braveheart. This is like they're all lined up getting ready to fight. It's awesome.
or Lord of the Rings, big fight scene.
Yeah. And then we have Guardians.
Thor. We got Thor.
And Thor
Hulk
comes,
should be up there. Then.
and then Thor comes back
Sort
and
of.
joins up
Yeah.
with the Guardians, and then quickly breaks off from them.
In some funny moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy hell. Rabbit! Go get the ship! Rabbit!
And Hulk gets his ass kicked by Thanos
And
in
Hulk,
the
I
first
forgot
5
about
minutes.
that. Yeah. And never comes back.
Banner gets Hulk-tile dysfunction. He refuses to come out because he's never had his ass kicked.
Never.
before.
Yeah.
So he's refusing to come out, which is something the Hulk would never do. But it's interesting that they.
But
did.
then again, you've never seen the Hulk get his ass kicked so quickly.
Well-
I mean, you've seen him get in some big fights, but never like that.
One of my biggest issues with Ragnarok, and Chad and I talked about this, I'm not as big a fan of Ragnarok as a lot of, especially the internet is, because I just looked at it, them making another Guardians movie just with Thor and Hulk instead. But one of my biggest issues was how they wanted to make Hell such a big character that they just destroyed the Warriors 3 for nothing.
Yeah.
Hulk getting his ass kicked like that kind of took it a different way. I feel differently about that than I did about Hell killing all of them so quick. It's I know Thor, I know Hulk would not be that scared to where he wouldn't come out.
Yeah.
Normally.
Well, that's why I find it kind of interesting.
Yeah, it was a little different.
Because it's like even Banner said, and he says, "Come on, everybody knows you wait till the last minute to come out,"
and then he's
which
still
they do. So and even in the previews, they showed the Hulk where he was not in the movie.
That running through the jungle thing that they didn't show at all in the movie.
Oh yeah, that shot wasn't even in the movie. That sucks.
There's a lot of people complaining about that.
But
I love that.
I forgot all about
Quit freaking spoiling movies in the trailers.
Yeah.
Yeah, swerve us some. I like that.
yeah.
Oh, they're very intentionally trying to throw those with the marketing campaigns.
Yep.
Okay, so we've established everybody up to this point, I think. Shit, I may be forgetting a couple people.
Probably.
And then they start interacting somehow. And
Have we ever seen an ensemble cast this big?
I don't think so.
This many big names?
Oh, and with a very big exception of Hawkeye and Ant-Man.
Which
And
they
the Wasp.
explain.
Well, they sort of explain. They just say they've been given a deal. But
Ant-Man and Wasp are doing their own movies, so they're busy.
Yeah, but it's
the schedules couldn't line up, guys.
But it's kind of funny, and not to jump all over the place, but it's kind of funny that almost every Marvel movie has a mid-credit spoiler or stinger and an end-credit stinger, and one of them normally has to do with the next movie. They did not do that this time. There's
just
Ant-Man
one.
and Wasp.
There's just one.
Well,
yeah.
but it doesn't lead to the next.
Not to the next. It
movie.
leads to a few. I'm assuming that's leading into the next Avengers.
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming.
So
Oh, it's got to be.
The one at the end.
I think one thing we do know is that Hawkeye and Ant-Man both play big parts in Avengers 4. And has anybody seen any of the behind the scenes photos? It's on IMDb. I can't get on the internet
Except
here,
for
but
the Brie Larson stuff that they claim was for Captain Marvel. That's actually, well, it's probably for both.
It looked like Cap was back in his original Avengers uniform with Ant-Man, and
it looks like there's some time travel element back to the Battle of New York.
and if they stay to the storyline
No one's seen it. We're hypothesizing at this point just based on the pictures, but yeah, it looks like maybe they
there's
go
going
back
to be,
in
especially
time.
with Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
When he not to jump around again, but if you guys remember when he said I've seen 14 million outcomes and only one.
yeah.
But if you remember earlier, he said the only way I'll give this stone is over my dead body, not even to save your life. But he ended up doing it. So apparently he saw something in that outcome.
You kind of have to trust him.
Yeah. So
You don't have
so
a
that's
choice.
telling me, and Doctor Strange is the dimension guy. I mean, so something's telling me they're going to be going through time, dimension,
Hey, y'all,
that kind of thing.
is your warlock supposed to be doing that? Does he normally do that? The magician or whatever?
It was
Or the wizard, that's what it is.
You're
Where's me from the
embarrassing me
wizard?
Your wizard's broke.
Yeah. So we had some really cool multiple scenes where Thanos actually squares off against different heroes at different points of the films, and sometimes he just kicks their ass completely, and sometimes they get the better of him. I like the scene where the Guardians pretty much have him incapacitated with Mantis, and have to make a really. They get it screwed up. They almost get the gauntlet off his hand, and then
Peter screws it up.
Peter screws everything up
Peter?
because with his anger,
His love.
his love for Gamora.
She's
Yeah,
green.
Lord.
10 minutes before he was ready to shoot her in the face.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a. Again, that's one of those little nitpick issues, but
I love the backstory with Thanos and Gamora when she was a little girl.
Yeah.
That gave so much depth to that character, Thanos. Where even in the comics he doesn't have that. He's just like evil for evil's sake.
Yeah, he had good intentions.
Yeah, I mean, you understand. You might not agree with it, but you understand why he's the same with Killmonger from Black Panther. You don't agree with what he's doing, but you at least can get behind and understand why he's doing it.
That scene is exactly like that in the comic book, but other than the Gamora, that's death.
Yeah.
He loves death.
Well, that's what he
story.
loves in the books, right? He's doing this basically to impress Death, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really thought they were going to find a way to tie in Hela with death.
With
this,
death, I
but
did
they,
too.
They, you know,
I mean, even in the first Avengers movie, when he goes to mess with the Avengers, means to court death.
court death,
and
yeah.
he kind of smiles
I thought
about
that
something.
too.
Oh,
He was
snap!
like,
but they went
I-
another way with
but
it.
I think it holds more sway doing it this way than it would if it
Yeah.
was just another love interest.
Yeah.
Typical kind of storyline.
yeah.
You get too much of that stuff going on. So I think the family aspect of it actually
Oh, I
helped.
think it works. Well, they've been setting it up too since I guess the first Guardians movie.
Yeah, with her and Nebula.
Yeah.
And Nebula has a big role in the comic as far as getting things back and defeating Thanos at the end. So I'm wondering if they'll even follow that
Yeah.
that story.
That's a good question.
I think so. I think audiences like Nebula.
I
And,
thought we'd get a little hint of Adam Warlock. That's just a hint of it, and we may haven't missed it.
that's true. It may have been there somewhere.
I mean, there's just so much on the screen
Yeah.
to take in. I kept, and especially in the collectors. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
I was just looking. Am I missing something? What am I saying? You know, what's there?
I was hoping Howard the Duck would jump in. and join the battle.
Well, I mean, everything
need
in there is
another-
destroyed. So
We need another Howard movie.
Yeah. We need a Marvel done Howard movie. Hey, I'm a Howard the Duck fan.
I am
All the
too.
time.
High five, Howard the Duck.
I'm okay. It's not my favorite.
I did love it when he popped up in Guardians though, and Guardians 2. That was a big deal for me. So by the time we do see the Collector, and we find out it was all a bullshit reality.
A ruse.
Is there an assumption there that he's already seen the Collector and gotten the
Yeah.
reality
Oh, yeah,
stone?
yeah.
That's how he changed the
Yeah, and
And
reality.
he's already
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so he's already. I'm
Doesn't the
assuming
stone even glimmer one
he's
time?
probably killed the Collector, or maybe not, or he's somehow gotten the
we
stone
don't
from him.
know,
And
yeah. But he's destroyed the whole
Well, the collector's
nowhere.
talked.
What was that?
Nowhere.
Nowhere. But,
Yeah, that's nowhere.
okay, so what are our stones again? The red one is the reality
Oh,
stone.
don't get colors. I can tell you.
God, here we go.
You got power.
Okay, and first of all, where did we first see it? We saw it in Guardian. No, we saw it in Thor: Dark World,
That's
and
You've got
it was last seen in the hands of the Collector, right? At the end of it, they brought it to him, and he's like one down,
Yeah.
2 to, or 5 to go, or
Yeah.
some shit like that. Okay,
the Mind Stone.
which is vision.
yellow, right?
Yeah.
You've got the Time Stone.
Hold on, I'm writing it down.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Mind Stone is in Vision.
Yeah.
All right.
Time
One
Stone.
in the Tesseract.
Doc Strange has
Time
the Time
Stone.
That's
Stone.
the green one. Time.
Reality.
That's
And that's
Eye of
Doctor
Agamotto.
Strange.
The Eye of Agamotto.
What's the reality, stone?
Reality Collector had reality.
What is that? The purple
That
one?
That's
the Power Stone.
He wrote it down as
Yeah.
red one.
Reality is red.
They're different colors in my comic book.
Are they?
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, because the Soul Stone
Soul
was,
was like whitish.
orangish, wasn't it, or something? They're different colors.
What's the blue stone? It was last
That's the
seen
Tesseract.
The
in-
Tesseract?
I know,
That's
but what's
Is
it
that
called?
the Power.
Power?
Stone, yeah.
I
They
think
play
did
loose
change-
and fast.
They
with
changed the
like that.
colors.
Yeah.
I do
Did they?
remember reading
Yeah.
about that somewhere.
I wonder why.
I don't know.
Didn't he have one whenever he showed up on Thor's ship? I thought that was the Power Stone.
He got
That's one
that
big
from
book
the
with it.
Nova Corps, which they, I guess he destroyed the whole Nova Corps to get the
purple one.
yeah.
They never.
They
never
said
showed
it, but
that.
they never showed it. But they said.
Did they say that he destroyed the Nova Corps to get it?
Thor on the ship? Thor said he's destroyed the whole Nova Corps.
Oh wow!
And the whole
I just
planet
went
to get
right
to
past
that.
me. So that's the purple one from Guardians, right?
Yeah.
And what is that one? The
What would you say?
Shit.
Soul, mind, power, time, reality, and space stone.
Space.
Space Stone, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And that was in Guardians, and then the Mind Stone is the orange, right, or the gold, or
No, soul. You've already got mine. That's in the
Okay.
vision. That's
Soul
the yellow
Stone.
one.
the Soul
Is
Stone.
orangish.
Is this
whitish.
Whitish, orangish.
The soul. I thought the
greenish.
soul stone
And
was.
that was what Red Skull was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So nobody had it. This is the first time we've seen it.
Uh huh. Okay. It helps for me to take notes and to remember everything. I can't.
Now, I don't remember, were the dwarves of Asgard or Niflheim or wherever?
Vandermeer or something like that. It was called Vandermeer.
Vanda?
I can't
Van
remember.
White.
I don't remember. Were they the ones that actually made the gauntlet in the comic? I don't remember that. It's been a long time since I read that comic. Huh?
Say that again.
Were the dwarves the ones who actually made the gauntlet in the comic?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
can't remember.
Aragon.
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Not in the com-
I don't think I ever said who
he
made
just
it.
he just snapped them onto his regular glove in the comic.
That's what it was.
So, but it's a pretty cool idea that the dwarves did make the.
Well, I mean, it makes all the sense in the world because they're the guys that make the world's largest dwarf.
That was so cool.
That was pretty awesome.
That was so cool.
Yeah, well, we knew he was going to be in it somewhere because they had made that, not a really announcement, but it wasn't a big secret that Peter Dinklage was in it, but it was a big secret as to who he was playing and what the significance would be. So I thought that was pretty cool. I really was hoping and thinking that was going to be the secret weapon to kill Thanos was this the new Thor's new axe. And
Almost was.
Yeah.
You have no idea when I saw it coming. When he was talking about the forge, and I went, "Oh my God, it's Stormbreaker!" And look, oh my God, I love that freaking hammer. I wish I could find somebody to make me a Stormbreaker, cause I love that hammer.
You need Groot's other arm.
Well, that's true too. But the Stormbreaker in the comics is different because Stormbreaker was made for Beta Ray Bill, who we saw.
Who nobody knows who that is.
Yeah, we saw as a bust. In Thor Ragnarok
yeah.
on whatever that planet was.
Beta Ray Bill is like an alien who became Thor. at one point.
Yeah. A horse.
Along with a frog and
horse,
various other farm animals.
Thank you, Walt Simonson.
Yeah.
The greatest Thor run ever until now. But anyway, so Stormbreaker was Odin created Stormbreaker for Beta Ray Bill to go back and didn't Thanos destroy his planet? Or somebody destroyed his planet?
Thanos' planet?
No, Beta Ray Bill's.
No, well, it was a bunch of, I don't think,
Galactus.
no, it was a bunch of like outer space
Okay.
alien types.
Anyway,
The board.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they all look the same.
could have been Cord's people, who knows? But I wasn't broccoli people, was it?
No.
Okay. We're getting all comic book nerdy now. But I love the Beta Ray Bill character. And to see when I saw that forge and he was talking about getting a new hammer, I was like, that's the only thing it could be. It's Stormbreaker. So that hammer axe kind of thing, I was so happy.
I knew going in that's what it was. I hate Stormbreaker.
Really?
I love Mjolnir. I love
I do
Mjolnir.
too. I hate when they get
and I hated when they got rid of it.
Yeah.
But Stormbreaker will work in a pinch, I guess.
Well, it was either going to be that or the Ultimate Thor hammer, which was that weird.
It's almost the same as Stormbreaker. It's got that almost axe side and then a hammer.
Yeah,
like a drywall hammer side.
Wasn't the big point of Ragnarok though, the movie Thor Ragnarok, that he didn't really need a weapon? He was the power himself, and he, let's just take some bitch to Lowe's and buy him a $40,
But I think he
sledgehammer,
uses it to
he's-
channel his power
Yeah.
or something, so he needs something.
Don't even get me
Let's
started.
give him a Cracker Jack.
Again, another
Let's
problem
get
with
him
Ragnarok.
a Cracker Jack ring.
Another problem with Ragnarok is they could have killed all the Warriors 3.
But here's-
don't destroy Mjolnir.
And I get it, but here, all of anyone's discontent so far has been just because of the comics were this. You know what I mean? The movies themselves are pretty freaking awesome.
Oh, they're amazing.
I've got very few complaints about anything.
But the comic,
And I'm not that kind of guy that's got to go, it's what it
Yeah,
is in
me
the comic
either.
book. Just
Me
entertain me, monkey boy.
Yeah.
Russo monkeys, entertain me.
yeah, you don't see her and go, that. Yeah, while you're looking at a
When-
comic book and go,
When I reference,
I don't. I really don't.
When I reference stuff like that, it's more about the importance of the future.
Mm-hmm.
So, like in the comics, Mjolnir is its own character.
Yeah.
And it's really become that here recently. So if they were going to go female Thor, it's done now, unless they just make Stormbreaker that.
Well, they could.
But
I mean, there's
Mjolnir has
a million things they could
once
do.
Jane Foster picks Mjolnir up on the moon, they start communicating, and she does something, and Thor Odinson is standing there, and he goes, "I didn't know the hammer could do that," and she's like, "Well, no, the hammer told me it could do that." So it's like its own separate entity.
Yeah.
So when Hell destroyed, I was like, "Well, they just killed off the best character."
Well, but I mean, it's like anything
I
else.
like hammers.
It's killed off, quote unquote.
Yeah,
you know,
true.
I mean,
When you got a
anything can
time
always
stone,
come
I
back.
guess it doesn't matter.
I guess nothing matters. You know.
We're deep in the nerd territory.
We mega nerds, aren't we?
All right, so let's talk about the Marvel Cinematic Universe for a minute. It started, as we said, 10 years ago with Iron Man 2008, followed up by The Incredible Hulk.
I'm a fan of that.
I am too. I think it's one of the underrated ones.
I agree. That's the normal one, right?
And then
Yeah.
Iron Man 2, which everyone seems to hate, which I still enjoy the hell out of.
I do too.
I understand it's not the best of the series. It's down towards the bottom.
It's
I
at
still
the
enjoy it tremendously. You know what I mean?
I just watched
At
it
the bottom.
recently.
It may be at the bottom, but it's still.
It's not the
enjoyable,
best
you know
Iron
what I
Man
mean?
movie, but I watch it every time I watch it. I watch the whole
Even
thing.
in my opinion, I
Talk about
hate
a terrible villain.
even if it's number 19 out of 19, I still would rather watch that over Batman vs Superman or
Oh God, yes.
Justice League any day. That's just it's just because
Well, I
it's
don't
just
know about
not,
Justice League, but yeah.
yeah, it bored the shit out of me. Okay, and then there was Thor, and then Captain America.
Before Thor?
Okay, yeah, Iron Man 2, then Thor, yeah,
Okay.
then Thor, then Captain America, the first Avenger.
That first Thor movie is amazing.
I think it's pretty good.
I think that's going to be the one in hindsight
Mm-hmm.
that everybody's going to.
It is a good
Everybody
movie.
raved about First Avenger as being the one that really kicked it off. But I think the first Thor is in hindsight, people are going to go, oh, that's the one that really.
I'm going to risk bodily harm and say I like Thor: The Dark World.
So do I.
I mean, it was like I said, it wasn't the
Not
best,
up in here.
It's not the best Thor
Well,
movie
let's
of the three.
not skip to
but
it.
I liked it.
Then we've got the Avengers, which ends out the phase 1. Then we've got Iron Man 3, which might be my favorite of the Iron Mans, just because I just enjoy it.
Shane Black.
It's a totally different vibe
Yeah,
than the other
Shane
films.
Black.
Shane Black. It's a Shane Black film. It feels like it. And then Thor: The Dark World, I think. Which I think is decent. To me, it's at the bottom of the list of the series, but it's still enjoyable as hell.
For good Thor action, I mean, it was great to just see Thor.
That was a
shit.
buddy cop movie in Asgard.
Yeah.
Him and Loki teaming up to that whole scene of them walking and Loki changing into Cap. Does this please you more? I
good
love
stuff.
that.
What was it? Was either
And I like
Guardians.
Malekith's one of my
I think it
favorites.
was it Cap?
It was either
Two?
Winter Soldier or
Winter Soldier.
I think it
Guardians.
was Winter Soldier first.
Winter Soldier, then, which was I think maybe my favorite of all of them.
Yeah.
It was just so well done, and we did that one on this podcast before too. Got to speak with the president as well. That was neat. And then
We're making our own Captain America.
The Guardians.
well, no, it was the helicarriers. He was inspired by the
Oh, yeah,
helicarriers.
yeah,
He was
okay.
gonna,
He wasn't going to make Captain America great again.
We're feeding him vitamins. We're feeding him vitamins every day.
Okay, and then after Winter Soldier, it was
Guardians.
It was Guardians.
it was Guardians, then Age of Ultron, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then Ant-Man.
Yeah.
And then so then Phase 3 is Jesus. There's so many in Phase 3 too. What started it off? I can't remember.
There was Avenger. There was
Ultron.
Cap 2. There was Ultron. Then was it Civil
Civil
War?
War.
Maybe it was Civil War that started it off.
Ultron.
Because it was
Civil War.
after Sokovia had been destroyed and the Accords and
Yeah.
everything like that.
Okay, so Civil War, then Doctor Strange,
Then what was
which
in
we
the
did a
spring?
podcast on as well.
What was in the spring? Yeah, I don't think Doctor Strange is going to hold up very well.
Really?
Yeah,
You
I
think
think that one's.
in
I think it's
in
going
hindsight, it's going to land towards the bottom?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Was
I
it
think
Guardians
so.
2 after that?
Spider-Man: Homecoming.
I think
I think
Guardians
it's
2
Guardians
was
2.
first.
Guardians 2,
was in
and
the
then-
spring, and then Spider-Man
Spider-Man
was.
Homecoming.
And then Spider-Man:
July.
Homecoming.
We could be getting this whole thing wrong.
Oh, we probably are.
But
We're
Then
trying to do this from
Ragnarok.
memory.
Then Thor: Ragnarok, and then Black Panther in February. And damn, 2 months later, now freaking Infinity War. So there's 19 movies. I feel like we're skipping one, but I don't know.
we probably are.
I don't know. There's 19 movies. And then I guess the 20th will be Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
Yep,
Which
a
is
couple of
summer.
months.
And then Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, then Captain Marvel, and then Avengers 4 again. I think we're
Captain
kind of
Marvel-
scarce this year.
17 internet devices laying here.
Fuck that. We can do it from
trying to do
memory.
it, yeah.
We got the
From
memory to do
memory.
it.
I can't even type in a password.
We're movie
So,
nerds. We're
it's-
supposed to know.
And then, so Ant-Man and the Wasp, Captain Marvel, Avengers 4, Spider-Man 2 has been slated as well. Guardians
For this
3
year?
has been slated. Well, just in the future.
Oh, yeah.
Between now and 2020.
So there's 5, and I'm sure Black Panther 2 has got to be in the works. That movie's made like $1 billion. Yeah. There's not showing any signs of slowing down either.
Let's talk about how stupid James Cameron looks now. Since his comment, what
an idiot,
Avengers
man.
are on their downside.
Yeah. Everyone wants to
getting
see
tired.
more Avatar.
Everybody's getting tired of
Got
it.
5 more Avatar
There's too
movies
many
in the
Avenger
works.
movies
That's
out.
what people
Well,
really
there's
want to see.
Avatars, yeah.
Yeah.
Avatar is one of those movies you liked it, but 2 months after you saw it, you forget about it.
I forgot. Yeah, it's
I
like
don't understand.
it was kind of
why
disposable.
they-
I didn't even say that, but it really was. And
As great as all the hype.
Well, I don't think anybody does.
Technically, it was a good not a good
yeah,
achievement.
technical
I think.
achievement,
Yeah.
but I don't
But
think it was.
so James Cameron can suck it. I mean, make something good. He said that nobody's making, or something about nobody's making science
As he
fiction.
does for
Well, you're not telling good science fiction. You're not telling anything.
well,
I'm talking to the
on the one
microphone
hand-
like it's James Cameron.
come on.
on the one hand,
thinking?
I agree with you. Yeah, James Cameron can suck it, but on the other hand, I would love to see a James Cameron Avengers
Yeah.
movie. The problem is, I don't want to wait 10 years to see it.
I wanted to
to
see his
it now.
Spider-Man movie. He was originally supposed to be
He
Spider-Man.
was. It was.
I
gonna
would've
be
loved to see
Leonardo DiCaprio
Yeah.
with him directing.
James Cameron, avid listener to this show.
And
You
James,
should call in.
let's bury the hatchet. Call into the show.
You should call in.
You should call in.
He's not gonna like what I have to say.
Hey, you're still digging Arnie up to do Terminator movies. Shut up.
I'll be back, but I'm dead.
That's a good point.
Terminator Avatar. Yeah, we're not doing repeat business at all.
Another Avatar, Terminator, and 4 or 5 more Avatars. So
69-year-old Arnold Schwarzenegger.
yeah,
He's still riding the Titanic wave, and
yeah.
he really should not say things
You
like
should
that.
do a Titanic too.
Yeah, the aftermath.
And it's your-
Just about 2 hours, 2.5 to 3 hours of body just floating in water, face down.
And Kathy Bates going, y'all look cold.
And Robert Shaw going, I
Got a
touched him and he upended. I reached over to wake him up and he upended.
oh god. Okay.
Well, that went all over this.
Yeah.
That's what we're all
I
about
don't
here.
know if we're entertaining anybody else, but we're going to entertain ourselves.
So while we're talking about, I guess, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, let's speculate a little bit about what we think the plans for the future are. There's a Fox merger being held up with FCC.
Yes.
So it may happen, may not. I think it's 50-50 at this point.
I think
whether or not
it's
it'll
going
happen.
to, from what I've read, it's going to take a year for that deal to finalize
Wow.
and go through from the time they
I
made
was
it.
so hoping that text message was just going to come up in X.
I kind of thought that it might.
Or
Yeah.
4. Either one.
Something, yeah.
Either one would have been.
I was expecting that.
And I think I told Dan, I leaned across the girls again, and I went, okay, there's one way they can save this with the audience. And let's see if it happens. And that's what I thought it was going to be, was an X. Because then everybody would just been like, oh my God, it's happening. You know, it's, we're going to see it finally.
I would have just
like
laughed out
I'll
there to see.
suck your toes. You're awesome.
A lot of people thought Silver Surfer was going to be in it because he's the one who originally crashed through Doctor Strange's house to warn everybody. Yeah. So a lot of people thought that was going to be the Silver Surfer.
But you can't have Silver Surfer without Fantastic Four. I mean, he was part of the Fox deal. And
so's Galactus.
And Galactus.
Who I would love to see Galactus done by Marvel.
Well, Fox teased him. And I mean, he was the part of the plot of the second.
He looked like a
Fantastic Four, but just saw him and
the ultimate Galactus, the ultimate version, where it was just a bunch of little nano whatevers.
But so I think it's highly possible in Phase 4 or 5 you'll end up seeing the Fantastic Four and X-Men and
a Marvel Fantastic Four.
The Captain Marvel movie that's coming out supposedly takes place in the 90s.
Yeah.
And the Skrulls are supposed to be the villains. Who I think they're supposed to be setting those up as the next big villains.
Yeah.
Which Secret Invasion
could play into what happened with this movie.
Yeah.
Everybody that died could have been Skrulls.
Secret Invasion goes, the Skrulls have infiltrated the universe for years.
Oh, wow.
And have taken the place of some of the heroes, even. And their plan gets found out. And
so
Spider-Woman was the first one found out, and
Cap was one.
Cap was one.
So it could be a way for them to bring new different actors into the roles.
Oh, well, that's true too.
Or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely think they'll find some. I don't know.
Joey
I have no idea. I mean,
Joey on the Talk of Comics podcast has been preaching Secret Invasion for a while now. He thought that's the way this movie was going to go.
So I'm wondering if the message or the funky looking pager that goes to Captain Marvel will be go back to the 90s.
Well, it's in the comics. Captain Marvel she goes into a coma for 20 years.
Yeah.
So it could be since the 90s she's been in a coma and she's just now come out of it, and Nick Fury knows about it and decides to decide, well, this is our last chance to
stick her weapon.
Because her big Captain Marvel and all those guys, their big thing were Skrulls. They fought the Skrulls and all that. So.
The thing that Marvel's been trying to do over the past 10 years or so is introduce newer versions of classic characters to varying degrees of success. The Jane Foster Thor has been really good. I hear the Riri Williams Iron Man.
Okay.
Has been
easy
pretty
for
good.
you to say.
The Amadeus Cho Hulk has sucked, but Ms. Marvel has been tremendous. So they could lead this into new characters and new faces doing these things.
I don't know. I think if the cinematic universe goes down that road, it'll be a good long while.
Oh yeah.
Because they've got so much they can still do with Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Black Panther. They haven't really explored those characters too much yet. They've only been around for just a few years.
I'd like to see another Doctor Strange movie.
Oh yeah,
where he fights Nightmare or somebody that gets into a more
horror.
Be
what the plan is.
Because that would be such a great horror thing to lead into horror.
Which I thought they were going to do with this one, and it just didn't quite bridge that gap.
Yeah.
Or they had to have more of an origin story for this, the first Doctor Strange. He's such an out there character for the mainstream audience to buy, especially if you're going to put him in the middle of Infinity War. You know what I mean? You've got to really show him and get the audience to.
But there are so many characters they have not even begun to touch upon yet.
Well, I mean, so they've still got a lot of cards in their back pocket they haven't played yet, and I don't think you can look too much to the comic books to see what Marvel's going to do, because I think that's what they're betting on.
Yeah, but they followed it pretty well with this one.
I know, but they're only halfway through the story.
True.
You know what I mean? I think they're going to. We already know they're good at the swerve. So if you're thinking that the comic book did this, they're probably going to do that. They're probably going to do.
Yeah.
They're probably going to go left when you're.
They've
thinking
done that
right.
They've done that.
And I think it's going to be to their success.
And that's cool that they're doing
really
that.
Cool.
I think that's.
Yeah.
Well, I think they look back at it and figure out where they messed up the first time, so they can correct it as they go.
Well, I mean, I think everything is highly planned out. I don't think they're leaving anything to figure out later. I think everything's far in advance. I think they sat down at the writers' table going, all right, we know this is where it has to end. we know we want to do this and this. How do we get from there to here?
Because if you're paying attention closely, there's a thread running through all those movies in one way or another.
Yeah.
And so you can tell the plan is in place. And
So, how cool was it? We had this. One of the thoughts with these movies is how do you accommodate the actors? You have to go that route. You have to figure out how Chris Evans is going to fit into it, how Hemsworth, how Downey, how much are you going to see them? How cool is it to have this big of an ensemble cast and everybody got their moment? Everybody got a moment.
It's tough to do that.
Some more than others.
Yeah.
The Black Panther's moment for this was probably a little bit more low key.
Yeah.
Low key.
see what you did there.
But they can afford it 'cause he just had his own film,
Exactly. And they were probably hedging their bets a little bit there too, because they were probably just in post production with that when the rest of it hit. So they were probably hedging their bets a little bit there.
There was one part where I almost picked my popcorn up and spiked it into the floor along with everything else. People were going, "Oh, Cap's got the Soul Stone. Cap this because he grabs Thanos' hand." No, he stopped Thanos' hand just because he's Captain effing America.
That's just his pure
and his
strength.
willpower. Man, I almost
that was cool.
Yeah, eat it.
I tell you what, I almost did that with the part where Thor comes to Wakanda.
That was totally
and intervenes.
Yeah,
and I
man.
was
Just so many moments like that.
Him showing up outside. Look, I'm doing it again.
my wife turned and looked at me. She went, "Are you crying?" I was like, "Shut up!" no, I'm not. Shut up!
Not cry. It didn't make me cry, but I was
very
overwhelming. Because I'm a Thor guy. I'm like, hell yeah, my guy is saving everybody.
They're on the verge of losing the fight too, and then boom, who comes in but freaking Thor, looking cool as shit with his new freaking hammer. Yeah.
And my man Hulk was in Hulkbuster.
Okay, now that's one thing I will say. If anyone doesn't have their moment, it's Hulk. Yeah, he's left out, but
and Banner's almost become comedy relief.
Yeah,
in a way.
But that's the only good thing about it is at least you're giving Banner more to do.
And then I, as being a Hulk fan, I'm as big a Hulk fan as Sammie is Thor. I didn't mind it. I thought it was because, like we were talking about playing with expectations. Everybody expect the Hulk to come in and just wipe up.
That's true.
And he didn't. And I found that a lot more interesting than just.
Well, and the first time they do that, they're on the streets of New York, and it kind of mirrors the scene in Avengers where Banner goes, "Here's my secret, I'm always angry." Then that's a really cool scene in Avengers.
Yeah.
There's almost this mirror scene in the beginning of this one where Tony does it, where he's like, "All right, well, you're not coming out, I'll do it," and then he just transforms into the Iron Man pretty quickly. That was pretty cool. With a new technology, every movie he's got new technologies.
Yeah.
How about the new spider suit?
Iron Spider.
Pretty damn cool.
Pretty cool stuff.
I was not looking forward
But
to
that
it.
was
That was a Civil War.
That was a Civil War thing.
They introduced it there, and he never took it. I have a theory that because we know Ant-Man's going to play a big role in Avengers 4, I have a theory that somewhere throughout the story of Infinity War, he was there all along. You just didn't know he was there. You didn't see him. And I think they're going to show. They're going to show that somehow. Even though they're not supposed to be because of whatever deal.
They're sitting out on the mountaintop going. With his burnt hand.
Well, I think Thor will show that they were probably there because they probably they're doing all that interdimensional multiverse type stuff. So it probably will show that they were there at some point or another.
We just didn't see them. We didn't know they were. So let's talk about what's being called the Snapture. Like the Rapture.
Oh, the Snapture. Let me mark myself safe in the Snapture. Sammie is safe in the Snapture. That was so. I wish I knew how to do that. That would be viral.
Wouldn't that be cool as hell?
That would be cool as hell.
So it's kind of like Jeff said earlier, like at the beginning, like you knew the stakes weren't quite as high with the Snapture because you knew there were so many of them. Had it only been a couple people, it may have felt more permanent. but with it being literally half of the whole cast.
Jason Buchanan marked himself safe from that.
Oh, that's funny.
Jackass always beats me
Damn
to
it.
the punch.
But
Damn you,
So I
Jason.
made this.
I survived Thanos.
Oh, that was a lousy t-shirt.
but knowing and yeah, I pretty much thought so at the same time too. That we know this can't be the end for these heroes, especially when you see people like Black Panther who can easily earn Marvel another $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
And Spider-Man,
But have you noticed who survived is the original comic book
Yeah,
Avengers?
I did notice that. Yeah,
Yeah.
all of them.
Thor, Iron Man, Cap, Ant-Man, Wasp.
Well, but it's all the Avengers in
Which
the
is
first
from the
first movie.
Yeah.
But Ant-Man and Wasp aren't.
Huh?
Were they in the
But they're
first
not
movie?
in. They're not in Infinity
Yeah, but
War.
they survived it.
You don't know that.
Just because they have a movie don't mean they
True,
survive.
true. Could be time.
We don't know when it takes place. Ant-Man and the Wasp.
But
It could be in
if-
between.
If you count the Ant-Man and Wasp, that's the original.
Oh no,
comic
I know
book
it is, but I
Avengers.
mean, they're not in.
Yeah.
As far as we know, they're not in Infinity War. I think they are, but
And that's,
it still hurt though to see some of these characters go like that.
Oh man,
yeah, the way it was
Spider-Man
done.
one.
Spider-Man was rough.
That's one point where I just went.
That's
I was
where
like, you
almost
sons of
kinda got.
bitches! How dare you do that to Peter Parker?
And I like the relationship him and Tony have had since Civil War.
It's a very father-son.
Yeah, and it's almost like he took Uncle Ben's place.
Yeah, yeah.
And so yeah, that was,
Even Thanos goes, "Is this your ward?" He's like, "No."
yeah.
Well, like in fact, he said Ward.
Yeah,
Here,
That is
DC.
pretty funny.
yeah.
Well, it's
Not quite as blatant as Deadpool's, but pretty close.
it almost seems like Tony was really being punished with this because he's the only person on Titan left. Like, first of all, my question is, how the fuck is Tony going to get home? But second of all, it's like he's just by himself on this.
Well,
Everyone.
Nebula was there with him.
Yeah.
Oh, did she survive?
She
too?
was
Okay.
there with him
Well,
too.
maybe,
So that's
well, yeah, that's
that may be how he gets home. She knows how to
Scrap her
fly.
for parts.
Yeah.
and
Make her the suit. Can
So
I come
he-
inside you?
wow.
Oh my God!
Well, we went there.
Low hanging fruit.
Lowest common denominator.
Oh my lord. Okay.
Does that mean I'm the lowest hanging fruit in this group?
Yeah.
So that's going to wrap up our discussion on Avengers: Infinity War.
Damn.
I feel like that needs some 70s theme music.
Rubber band man.
We're gonna have to pay royalties on that.
Oh man. Okay. Well, you guys have any final thoughts? I think we pretty much covered every major plot point of the
Yeah.
film.
Yeah.
I hate that we can't do it in order, but we just don't have the film in front of us. When what was it we did? We did one of the movies and I literally sat in the movie theater and took notes while I watched it, so I could.
Dr. French?
Yeah, probably was so we could try and talk about it in order. And this movie's just too freaking massive.
Yeah,
I
there's
can't.
too much going on.
And it goes back and forth. Like
Yeah.
it's like the end of a Star Wars movie. Like we go from one scene to another group,
Yeah.
and
Just Chris Farley, the whole thing. Hey, remember when Thanos snapped his fingers?
Remember?
That was cool. That was
so
really cool.
I'm thinking in Avengers 4 we will finally get to see everybody in one place at one time. I'm hoping that's cool.
Yeah.
This
It's a
whole
very
cast.
typical get the band together kind of thing.
I'm hoping it'll be.
Didn't somebody say on the ship, what is this, like getting the band together or something?
I think I remember
Yeah,
something. I can't
somebody
remember
said
the
that.
context, but I do hope it'll be like fulfilling what the poster for Infinity War looks like, all of it in one scene. You know, which is looks like a poster I probably would have had growing up.
Do you think we're going to see Adam Warlock in 4? Or
I think he'll show up in Guardians.
I think
he'll
they're
show
saving
up
him
in
for
Guardians.
Guardians 3. Yeah.
Him.
He's the more cosmic. That's the more cosmic.
Yeah, but he ends up with
franchise.
He ends up with the Mind Stone.
Does he?
Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe that'll lead out of Infinity War. That'll be extra credit.
Where's no
Extra scene leading into
It'll be
Guardians.
overtime.
You know where the Infinity Stones go, which God, what did I read? Oh, the New Hulk. I just finished the issue this morning where they've gone back to Planet Hulk, and Thor shows up. They bring Thor in to fight the Hulk again, and of course they win the battle. Blah blah blah, and they Hulk and Thor leave, and it says something about an extra caption or something. It says something about if they only knew what was just right below the surface of the Planet Hulk area, and it's the blue one. What's the blue one in the comics?
That's all right. Well,
What's the Power Stone?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me check my notes.
No,
Power
it's
Stone.
the one in the comic. So, so this hand reaches down and grabs it, and it looks like Ben Grimm, and picks it up, and it's a Super Scroll. Yeah, so the Super Scroll has the Power Stone in the comic books. That just happened this morning as I was reading.
Spoiler.
Yeah,
Stupid scrolls always
Stupid
ruining
Skrulls.
everything.
But that's a
Trying
Super
to take
Scroll.
over humanity.
The Super Scroll has all the powers of the Fantastic Four.
Oh, and one thing we didn't mention. Do we think Vision's really dead?
He looked dead.
I never seen a gray Vision, so yeah, he looked kind of dead.
I think it's Heimdall, Loki, Gamora, and Vision. I think they're just dead. I don't think they're coming back from the Snapture.
especially if they play it to where Adam gets the Mind Stone.
the Mind Stone.
Then he can't.
That's
come
true.
back.
Yeah.
He comes back in the comic, but
Well, yeah. I mean, he could always come back in the movies, but still.
he's an android.
But you know,
Tony, build another one.
just build
Well, and they
Who made
hinted to the fact that he didn't need the stone to survive in theory.
That is
Yeah.
true. Yeah, he could still be something.
So I saw a theory
Just make a
today.
flashlight.
I saw a theory today that Suri puts him back together. Not Siri. Suri. I said Suri.
Who's probably going to be Riri.
Yeah, probably.
Siri.
I have a feeling.
Can you put Vision back together?
Siri, can you build me an
Does
Iron
she
Man?
answer?
Yes. Very cool.
Get it, Siri.
You heard it here first.
Spoiler alert.
Can I tell you the voice of Siri, the actress who did the voice of Siri, follows me on Twitter.
No.
I don't know why. But anyway, it just happened.
I think you're cute.
I like gingers.
Dan is so interesting.
And my monotone voice.
Ha ha ha. Retweet.
So, I mean,
I watch you while you sleep.
it kind of covers everything. We've got, God, that's somebody we should see in the next one, Mephisto.
Man, yeah. Yeah, in the comics, Thanos sort of had Marvel's version of the devil whispering in his ear the whole time.
Is it Mephisto in the X-Men universe?
No,
Cinematic
he's
universe?
he's more Silver Surfer, Thor.
Okay. I thought he
follows
appeared in
those
one of the
guys
X-Men
a lot.
movies. Which he could be one of those crossovers like
And that's a. I'm
Scarlet
sorry.
Witch and
He
Doesn't the next one
originally.
start with the Celestials, though? The second half of this start with the Celestials going, hey, wait a minute, this Thanos guy's done something
I don't
bad.
know. They're in the comic. Too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
And that
Actually
big giant,
seeing
that big
Infinity
giant
and-
head that is in the nowhere place. That's a Celestial
That's what I thought.
head. Yeah. So maybe they'll bring him into it.
that'd be cool.
God, you talk about that takes some balls too, because that's some characters that are just so far beyond even.
But yeah, I mean
people
they,
go, what the?
they keep showing that
Eternity?
they'll keep bringing in these
Yeah, true.
comic characters, so these cosmic characters.
Thor whips a lot of people. My man.
Not
Yeah,
with that
better
stupid Stormbringer he won't.
He cut Thanos.
Yeah, they
gone
should
for the
have went
head.
for a head.
All right, I think that's going to do it. Sammy's got up and left.
Cramp.
That's going to do it for this episode. It's going to go in the next room and cry. Jeff, where can our listeners find more of you and what you're up to?
The usual Facebook and darkerworld.com. that I probably need to do some updating on.
We've got
Jeff's been out of the country.
yeah. Well, Jeff and us, whatever, are working on. We're working on Trouble Will Cause, which will be out sometime later this year. Got a first cut of that to show you in the next couple weeks. And we've got Carolina Hates coming back in September.
Yeah.
So, we're excited about that.
I like scary stuff.
Chad, where can our listeners find more of you?
Usually around parties or Burger King. Just hanging out in the parking lot, seeing what they throw away.
I thought it was the tea rooms.
Yeah, that too. On Sundays. I'm on Facebook, Chad Hunt on Facebook. I also co-host, what's the name of that show? Decades of Horror, Classic Era.
Classic Era.
And Decades of Horror, the 1970s, a couple of.
An awesome host.
And I would like to thank Chad for having me on that show a couple weeks ago to talk about the birds. That was a lot of fun. So, go listen to that episode. That was a good one.
It was a good one.
Yeah, it was good. And
It was as good as Whitney's episode.
I didn't listen to it. Sorry.
and other places.
I support my friends.
Sammie, where can folks find you?
You can find me on the planet nowhere picking up.
Oh, crap! Oh, God, not get the gas!
Picking up scraps off the collector's butt, I guess. All the social media at Sammie Castle, and check out Sammie the Comic Book Man Facebook page.
Or don't.
Or don't.
Or don't. That's fine too.
Either way, I'm fine with either way.
Somebody was looking for members of a Geek Mafia, and I was like, I'm Sammie the Comic Book Man. What the hell else I gotta do?
You're like the Don of the Geek Mafia.
No, check.
You can find everything we're up to at rickhaverproductions.com. Where we've got like 8 Facebook pages now. So check out Midnight Shift.
What the hell was the guy? What was the enforcer in Godfather? We just did that damn thing.
It wasn't Viggo Mortensen.
Oh God!
Viggo sounds Italian.
Oh my God, we better wrap this
What
up.
is that guy? He looks great.
Scarface, whatever his name was.
Viggo sounds Italian. You better wrap this up before he says something.
know, right? Okay. Go listen to our episode about The Godfather. Just go to rickhaverproductions.com. Everything we're up to is on that page, and including our new feature film, when the girl with the pink in her hair walked into the comic book store. I have to concentrate to get that title out.
Help us, Jeebus.
Hey,
And
Thomas, this is how you have fun at a podcast.
Oh God. We'll be back. He's not listening. What do we care? We'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode on, I believe, The Shining. So with these jokers here. So
2 whole weeks.
go eat some bananas, and we'll see you then.
Everybody on the knock on wood. When you see the man do his stuff, oh, done seen enough. Oh, moving his shoulder, got his head moving side to side. Look at him crimping with a whole on. Oh, he